So the next thing that I want to talk about that you mentioned just a little bit, but it's such an important part in my book, needs attention. That is posting your sales at SKU level rather than as lump sum income, right? That's another one. So tell us a little bit about why that is much better, and then how would you do that? Because when Amazon sends that settlement report, of course, they have the SKUs, but if you're using Excel and whatever, then you can't really get that breakdown as easily unless you're doing all kinds of pivot tables and everything else, right? So you wanna, who wants to go? Go ahead.
Yeah, sure. I'll jump in. I agree. Like you know, and as you grow, your spreadsheets will crash, and you know, that system will definitely, you'll grow out of that system very quickly. A2X has the beauty of being able to, you know, collate the data, but then also break it down in the way that suits the customer. And so your method is our sales by SKU method. And so once we get the data in, we then break it down a little bit more detailed from our high level breakdown. And yeah, we basically provide gross sales at a per SKU level, and refunds and promotions as well can be done that way. And so at least then you get to, you know, you get a bit of an idea about your profitability by SKU, as you know, how products are going at an individual level as opposed to the high level. And it's super important and super helpful. You know, there could be, especially with sellers that have got maybe new sellers that are starting out with new products, and they really need to have a good handle on how well those products are going at an individual level. Or maybe a seller that's got, you know, more products, a larger number of products, and one of those products is causing them to have, you know, worse numbers than they could have, and they wouldn't know if everything was all consolidated together. So that way provides that clarity for sellers, and you can get a good idea of how each product is going individually.
Well, you know, the other thing that is always hard is when you're making a sale on Amazon, obviously you assign the price when you create the listing, but that price is not fixed. In fact, it's encouraged to be changed from time to time, because I have a guest who's had his appearance on my podcast actually twice so far, that it's designed for private label sellers, and his philosophy is very simple. It says what is in your 100% control is the top line, because you're never gonna reduce Amazon commission, you're never gonna reduce FBA fees, you're never gonna reduce the advertising unless you become really efficient. But your top line is 100% in your control. So he advises people to follow the trends, and based on the trends, incrementally modify the price. Ideally, increase it, sometimes decrease it. But his example is very simple. If you have 5% fluctuation in your top line, you have 5% extra added to your bottom line. So that's a huge deal. So that's why he encourages changing the price regularly. Of course, so when you change the price over time, these unit sales are coming in at different price points. And at the end of the settlement period, when you produce that summary, okay, I sold so many pieces of this, so many pieces of that, you really need one price. You can't have multiple prices. So so you need to really harmonize everything and then produce a summary of this is what has been sold, and this is the average price point. So these are all things that I understand your system does, and then it just spits out the invoice, right?
That's right. Yeah, yeah. And you're 100% correct. You know, your top line is definitely the most important. If there's no performance there, then whatever comes under that is not going to perform either. And so, the more detail you can have in each of your products, and you know, like especially as you say for trends and analysis and so on. Without that, you're sort of just flying blind and hoping that you'll be making money at the end of each period, as opposed to knowing exactly where you're sitting in that way. Yeah.
And then also, of course, the promotions, the discounts, and they also affect the price point. So all that gets taken care of. So